first item on our agenda this evening is for me to turn on this microphone. There we go. The first item on our agenda this evening is a proclamation for Arbor Day. If you would.
Thank you. Arbor Day Proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce erosion of our precious topsoil by winds and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate our temperatures, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and whereas trees in our city increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore I, Chad Emmerich, the mayor of the city of Vienna, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the city of Vienna, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, he urges all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations.
So I'm going to move some things around here really quickly. And the very first thing that I want to do, or the next thing I want to do, is recognize my Aunt Verona. She is going to be Vienna's very first inductee into the Vienna Golden Society. The Vienna Golden Society was established to recognize and honor those individuals who have reached their 100th birthday. And if you know of individuals that are going to be 100 and they're getting ready to celebrate that, or they have already surpassed the 100 mark, I will recognize them retroactively. All you have to do is let me know. So, we are going to recognize her today. Aunt Verona, if you and your family would come forward. So, this is Aunt Verona. And obviously, Aunt Verona has been around my entire life. Because I'm only 46. Oh, keep this. No stories. No stories. That's not where we want to go to with this.
We have a lot of stories.
Fortunately, there wasn't, social media back in the day for all of those pictures. But it is my great honor today to be able to recognize you. Your birthday's this Sunday,
Right.
correct? So
April 13th.
So you'll officially be 100
Yes.
on April 13th.
Yes.
And you had a goal, didn't you? Don't you remember telling me a goal that you had?
Yes.
What was that goal?
I had a brother that lived to be 102 months, and I said, and I'm going to beat him.
We are very hopeful that you're going to beat him by a long shot.
Well, at least 3 months.
At least. If she starts looking at her watch at that 2-month mark, we'll know. So, how long have you lived in Vienna?
Well, I know it was 75 because my oldest son is 75. So it's been 80 plus.
So she, if
all my life.
if not the oldest Vienna resident living in the city of Vienna, you are probably right up there in the very, very top percentile. And I know your contributions over the years to our community have been amazing. And today we're going to do a couple of things. First of which, I'm going to present you. You got that? This is the very first. hearing aid. This is the very first certificate for the City of Vienna Golden Society. You are our first inductee into it. So you can clap for that. So, actually, I was good with the microphone. Let's just keep it in there. So this says, presented to inductee Verona Enoch in celebration of your 100th birthday, given this day on April 10th, 2025.
Thank you.
And I also have something else special for you.
Oh, okay.
I have
Oh,
a key to the city.
big.
But I'm going to tell you, it doesn't go to absolutely anything. But you can just carry it around and say, I got a key to the city.
I'll put it
So-
around my neck.
You can do that. So, you want to take a picture? You guys want to gather around? We're going to look right this direction. You guys have anything you want to say? What is the greatest change that you have seen in Vienna over these years?
The population.
The population. Anything else?
Yeah, a lot of the clothes,
Yeah,
stores, and
all kinds of stuff.
the mall is still here
It is.
because a lot of malls are not.
That's it. We want it to eventually be 100 years old too, so it will join you, but I won't give it a key to the city. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this today. I look forward to seeing you actually on your birthday, and
Okay.
we're going to have a wonderful time.
Okay.
Give my everyone a round of applause. Teresa, can you check the air conditioning, please? It may just me, but I'm. Yeah, it's on. So now we're going to move on, and we are going to recognize the Vienna Rec Championships teams. I believe we have 3 of them. And the first team that we're going to, and if I'm reading this correctly, is the green team. Who's on the green team?
Looks like we have green too. Well, there's lime green, and then
Who did that planning? So, okay, whose team is Dawson Butcher on?
that would be the elementary.
Okay, elementary. The green team elementary.
Everett.
That'll be you.
So is that you?
Looks like he's the only one.
You're the only one? That's going to make it real quick. Look through and look for Everett Montgomery. Come on up here.
They're in order of the list.
They're in order of the list, so he's about halfway down. So how long have you been playing basketball?
For like 2 to 3 years.
Did you make any baskets?
Yes.
Do you remember how many points you scored?
I don't know.
Chad, Everett is probably one of our most improved players in the whole league.
Awesome.
From
Are
last
you
year
his
to this
coach?
year. I'm the commissioner of basketball.
Well, come on up here and you help us. Here, come on over here. And we'll go get your picture. You come over here and stand. Hold your certificate up there, buddy.
There you go.
There you go.
Tony?
Yes. If I give you the rest of this, all right, the next team. Let's do the middle school, lime green. Lime green. So these are
Okay.
They should be the lime green.
He's gonna say I'm not seeing you.
You want to read them off? You're familiar with those names. So who have we got there?
What's some of your players' names? Yeah.
Tyson.
There we go. We got Cragen, you want to give them the? Sure. Cragen Blevins is the coach of Lime Green Middle School.
Turn around there so everybody can see you.
We got Ella Tucker, Ezra Delva, Connor Tennant, Riley Carpenter, Tyson Elam, and last but not least, Colton Lynch.
And what was your name?
Cragen Blevins.
Franklin? Come on in, let's get your picture. Thank you guys very much and congratulations. So the next one, we would have the high school team.
I haven't seen either high schoolers.
No one from the high schoolers here?
I haven't seen this.
No. So who's the purple team?
Purple team is the 3rd through 5th girls, which is the first year for, I guess we done it a long time ago, but they didn't have enough participation. We had some interest, so we started 3rd through 5th all girls league again, and we had more girls sign up than boys elementary.
So this is the first time in a long time you've had an all-girls
Yeah.
team. Well, stand up and let's recognize you. Come on up here. Can you tell-
I'm here, I'll stop.
Oh, I know that guy.
This is Adam Kearns. All we need.
What was your name?
Ella Moorhead, Crystal Kearns, Adriana Thompson, Ron Sturgis.
Those are for the, this is just the girls' team.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have certificates for them.
Oh, okay.
We're just, I didn't know you guys were gonna be here. But, look, I will do this. This is what I promise. I will get you guys certificates for your team. We're doing a first, okay? Sound good? Good.
We'll just play the other team for theirs.
Yeah, that's it. Do you guys have anything you want to say about Vienna basketball?
This year was an awesome year, and having the all-girls league, I think, has been so successful. We're going to go offer all girls from pre-K all the way through 5th grade next year, and hopefully we'll just pique the interest of more kids, and they'll have a better experience.
Youth programming is obviously critical to any community. As I was a recruiter for a number of years, I talked with those recruits that would come from inner cities and troubled communities, and I'd ask them the question, what is it that kept you on track all of those years? And they would tell me it was not wanting to get kicked off the football team or the basketball team, or it was mentoring by my coaches and the staff and the parents that were there. So recreational sports for our kiddos is critical to our community. And I'm so glad that we have Vienna Rec and we can support that program, and we look for just great things to come. So thank each and every one of you for being here. I have a due out for you guys, which I will get to you, and you guys have the rest of a wonderful evening.
Not yet. We're meeting tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, well, Skylar Gill. I just can't. Yeah.
As we move along, the next item that we have on our agenda this evening is our public forum. The first individual we have signed up to speak is Henry Sasson.
Got his picture. Well, I got his comments. You're welcome.
Evan Sass, 1307 Greenmont Hills Drive in Vienna. Mayor, Councilman, Vienna residents, I'm not here today to talk about swimming, and I'm not here to talk about budget numbers. I'm here to talk about transparency. I got 4 topics to touch on briefly. Number 1, whenever we were looking at Jackson Park, the land for the Vienna consolidation, during that meeting, they talked about covenants that were there that disappeared. Did anybody do any investigation as to what happened and why and how? Everything went quiet. So the people of Vienna ought to know what happened. Number 2, John's Manville property. When we had the meeting down at the library that day, I believe that meeting was also videoed. I went through my notes over the past week. People that I refer to as the old timers, and that's not a slam at the people, it's just that it's a slang term, made recommendations on where we ought to drill for samples. They never drilled where those recommendations were made. Why? I don't know. But if we as a city are concerned about chemical exposure or anything like that, then we ought to listen to these people and put 2 boreholes down to where these individuals said that there are chemicals buried because they know, because they're the ones that probably just said that put them there. The last thing we as a city need to do is worry about an ambulance chasing law firm suing the city of Vienna for what we did or didn't do. Item number 3, the property in Johns Manville. I don't know if anyone's looked at it, but trying to track down how it went from owner to owner to owner is still a black box. Kind of wonder why. And item number 4, going through, some of you know that there was the stuff that came up in Huntington for people that claimed that they lived in a certain area that they didn't. Not long ago, I did put up, or this thing don't work.
It's set for his laptop. Just there's a selection button at the very base of it. On top.
On top, there's a menu. There's on off. Oh,
There you go.
there we go. Going through. I don't know if this is, I don't know.
Turn the light off. It'll probably,
The what?
they'll turn that light off. It'll probably. There you go.
Everybody's been asking, do people live where they say they live? Well, Councilman Leach, I know this has come up several times. I'll throw it out on the screen, 1711 Grand Central Avenue.
So Henry, let's talk about this, buddy. So 1711 Grand
Whoa,
Central.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
No,
I'm
we're not
following
gonna
the
whoa,
protocol of the city.
All right.
This is,
All right, fine. You're a piece of work, dude.
so going through, we ought to look at this. I mean, it's been out there, let's resolve it. To me, that doesn't look like a residence. A lot of people, it doesn't look like a residence. I thank you for your time.
I'm gonna go ahead and address this.
I will give you 3 minutes to address.
I don't need 3 minutes.
Okay. Well,
So Henry, I've been investigated now probably based on your complaints by the Secretary of State. I've given a recorded statement. I've FaceTimed them. I've had 2 investigators come to where I live. I've shown them all this information. Most of this you've done behind my back.
Wasn't me.
Well, I remember in the council meeting where you got up and showed us your pretty picture on your driver's license.
Yes.
I assume that was a reference to me.
Yes.
So there's 150 people in this community that tell you, I live at the river. All you needed to do, you're welcome to come and visit. I don't live in Greenwood. I don't want to live in Greenwood. That's not my standard. And how I choose, if I want to live in a tent, a bus, that's up to me. But if you just had the guys to just come and say, Jim, hey, look, I have a question about this. Can you explain it to me? I would do that. That's just not your MO. So that's what I have to say about this. You know, your time on council, so far, you're not setting an example that I think represents what the spirit of this community is. And so, just keep it up.
No
I
problem.
live where I say I live.
All right, moving on. The next individual signed up to speak on our public forum is Roger Wilcox.
Roger Wilcox, 601 20th Street. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me this time to speak. I'll be brief. This is all speculation on my part, but I would like to make a statement on this. The rumor has it on the senior center may be lowering its age. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd like to add this to that.
Can you speak closer to the microphone?
Is this better? Yeah. Thank you. Anyways, well, I've got COPD, so I can't talk anyways. But my feelings on that, if that is true, I am 82 years old, and there are a few things in life that you do not mess with or change. And those things are God, country, grandma, and apple pie. And I do not want anything done with the senior center. I'm 82, and for the people that are 65 and went there, and 55, just leave it alone. Leave us live what life we have left. Let us live it out. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Kathy Boswell Davis.
Kathy Boswell Davis, 407 58th Street. I just wanted to get a little bit of information on the street sweeper. Seems that people in Vienna go wild when they see it on the streets sweeping the sides. Chad, you and I spoke about this a while back, and you stated that you were looking for a driver. I just wanted to know where you were with that, and when we might see a schedule, weather permitting, what streets that sweeper will be on, so that residents could park other places, maybe in their driveway or somewhere else, so their street would get swept. I've had several people reach out to me, so I just wanted to know where we are on that. And as a citizen of Vienna, I was a little disappointed a couple meetings ago with some, what I would say, unruly outbursts. I believe, Chad, that you really owe Mr. Sasson and Mrs. Rhodes an apology. I was quite embarrassed as a Vienna citizen when I heard that. I actually was leaving the meeting and heard it in the hallway. But for good measure, I believe that you owe them an apology for the outbursts. It just wasn't ethical. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Kim Williams.
Good evening. My name is Kim Williams. I live at 801 49th Street. Nice to see so many seniors here this evening. I know it's a big topic on the agenda tonight, and that's really what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to lay a little history on everybody about the Vienna senior citizens and where they started and their relationship with the city. In 1982, way back in 1982, the Vienna Senior Citizens Satellite Club was formed, and that was a branch of the Wood County Senior Association. And because they were like an umbrella group under the Wood County Senior Citizens Association, they serve people age 60 and over. The Satellite Club provided fellowship and activities for area seniors, and they began meeting at Wayside United Methodist Church, and then they had to switch to St. John's when Wayside did their expansion. So in 2006, the city of Vienna really wanted to see the Vienna Senior Citizens Satellite Club have a permanent home, and so they made the former John Mansfield Union Hall available for their activities. So there has always been a strong association with the Vienna Senior Citizens Satellite Club and the city of Vienna, and the city of Vienna has really stepped up to help them. And over the years, a lot of great things happened. The senior center grew, and the gym then became a part of that as well, that then expanded activities to provide exercise and that kind of thing. And so it's been a good thing. But unfortunately, in 2020, COVID hit. That changed everything. And it was really hard on our seniors. They weren't able to meet for over a year. And then when things did come back together, a lot of things changed. One of the first things that changed is, for whatever reason, they had to disband. There's a lot of controversy about exactly what happened at that time, and I wasn't there. I mean, I was on council at that time, but I wasn't involved in that, so I can't speak to that. I do have, and I will pass this out to council. This was a history provided by one of the former board members of the Vienna Senior Citizen Satellite Club then became the Vienna Senior Citizens Association, okay? But anyway, so I have this history that's provided, and I'll provide it to council. But when they disbanded, all their funds went to the Vienna Senior Center to be used for activities for seniors at the Vienna Senior Center. So when activities were able to start again at the Senior Center, they just weren't the same. One of the things that was taken away was really access to the upstairs. You guys have been there. Council came a couple months ago when Councilwoman Rhodes had a kind of a town hall there, and everybody came, most everybody, and you were able to see that room's full of junk. So it's organized and all that, but it's not very useful. The other thing that they lost out on is they had a computer lab up there. That is now gone. And I was at the Senior Center today, as a matter of fact, and somebody mentioned to me that they wish that computer lab was still there. And I know that there are, I know from my perspective, I have a couple computers and some printers and things that I'm willing to donate to get that lab established again if we could have the room for that. So if everybody recalls, it was about a year ago this time that when I was sitting on council, and we wanted to expand activities at the Senior Center, and after some back and forth and some seniors who really came and spoke out, then the mayor and the council decided, hey, you know what? They can expand those things that they want to do at the Senior Center. They made the part-time staff person a full-time staff person, and a lot of really good things have happened. We have lunch and learns now. They do crafts now. There's a book club. There's all kinds of great things happening. There's some momentum, but there's some more things that need to happen. And there's a group of senior citizens right now that are kind of working on wanting to establish the association again, but this time to make it not just like a community group, but an actual 501c3 nonprofit. So they would be eligible to go out and seek grants to help provide funding for seniors here in this community to, hopefully to partner with the city to be able to do things much in kind of the same way of Friends of Vienna in a very minor scale, but how
Ms.
Friends of
Williams, your
Vienna.
time is up.
Okay.
Miss Vicki Squires.
Vicki Squires, 5 Ashwood Drive, Vienna. I won't keep you for long. I am just interested from from what I have heard in regard to our senior center.
I want to make sure you have adequate time while Ms. Williams finishes passing out her papers.
My apologies, Vicki.
You're fine. Not better?
Go ahead.
But my main concern is what I've been hearing lately in regard to changing the age at the senior center to 50. We have a great group of people there. Not all of them are Vienna residents, but over half, is my understanding, are Vienna residents that come and use the facility. And I really hope that the age requirement is not dropped, because I don't look at a 55-year-old as a senior citizen. I look at a 60, 65-year-old as a senior citizen. But we have a lot of opportunities there. We have a lot of fun. And like I talked to you the last meeting, before the meeting, I still would like for you to come over and just sit down as an announced visit for us. And just talk to seniors and get input straight from them, because they have had instances where they've been asked not to ask questions, and that's not right. So anyway, 55 and older would be great to leave it that way, since it was announced that way on April 1st. And I think a lot of us will be real happy if it stays that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia White.
Hi, my name is Patricia White, and what I'm calling about, I heard that was going down to 50. It should be 55 and older. I mean, no 50-year-old is a senior center, as a senior. And also, there's some stuff going on that shouldn't be going on over there. There's 18-year-olds that's going in there at evening and exercising and whatever they're doing. And that should be allowed. It's a senior center, not a community center. And there's also little kids coming in there too. During the day, there's a little boy that's about 3 years old, shouldn't be in there. It's a senior center. And I would like to keep it up at 55. Thank you.
Thank you. The minutes have been printed, posted, and circulated from the 3/27/25 meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, let the minutes be added to the record. Report of the treasurer, Councilman Sassen.
I reviewed the reconciliations of the funds dated April 7th, 2025, and the short budget report, and compared them to the previous month. The accounts are all in order, and the city of Vienna can pay its bills.
Moving on, we have no unfinished business. So the first item on our agenda this evening is a discussion regarding the West Virginia checkbook project. There you go, sir. I knew we had sat you over in there, so you didn't have to sit out here. If you hit that computer button. Are you on? Is your computer on?
Yeah, I'm logging on.
Okay.
Thank you guys for having me here. My name is Jacob Lindroth. I am from the West Virginia State Auditor's Office, and today I will be talking about our state transparency initiative as well as our state transparency website. So our state transparency initiative was founded with the goal of bridging the gap between counties and municipalities, local governments, and the people of West Virginia, with the idea that if counties and municipalities, local government, and state government were able to put their data out publicly for people to view, that this would not only increase public trust, but also increase overall transparency statewide. So transparency as a whole is on a voluntary basis, so nobody's required by code or law to join the Transparency Initiative. We made it voluntary so that the people of West Virginia can see that the counties and municipalities are taking an active step to be more transparent. So within West Virginia Checkbook, as of now, we currently have 30 counties and 24 municipalities with data live on our site. So if you go to West Virginia Checkbook and view local governments, you can see any of those data sets that you would like to view. So another note that I would like to make is that the state as a whole in the West Virginia Auditor's Office bears the cost of transparency. So it's completely free to join and completely free to maintain as the years go on. So what is West Virginia Checkbook? West Virginia Checkbook is our Auditor's Office website where we house all the data, not only for local governments, counties, and municipalities, but also for pharmaceutical data, police data, volunteer fire department data, and many other state and local government data sets. So West Virginia Checkbook is comprised of three main features: reports, stories, and dashboards. I'll go ahead and show you guys an example of what a report is. And this is all something that if you join Checkbook that you would have access to. So this is an example of a report. It's from the city of Nitro. So all reports are formatted roughly the same. The only difference is the graph area. Sometimes you'll see a line graph, sometimes you'll see a pie chart, and it just differs based on what the data is. So within a report, you can see the graph and then the legend on the side. And then down here, if I can get it to work, but down here it fills in a data set. So you can see all of the raw data that is input into the site, and this will be filled out based on your municipality or county's data set. And then another good benefit of reports is that you can filter it many different ways. So within a report, you can filter it by clicking into the graph. So if you hover over the graph itself for the different sections, you can see the numbers and data based on each individual transaction that the city of Nitro had in this example. And then you can also filter it based on the legend over here to dig further into the data. And then once you get into your own data set, you'll be able to filter this kind of like a table and column thing. So you can even go as far as if you scrolled over and found the expense amount, you can type in to the dollar or cent amount of an expense that you're trying to find for the city. So another good thing about reports is views. It's probably my favorite feature of reports that I use quite often. So if you're having to go in a report and filter something over and over again and you just don't want to repeat those steps, you can save something that's called a view, which is basically a shortcut. So you can save as many views as you want, and this has been a useful tool not only for our office, but we've seen it become very useful for a lot of other counties and municipalities. And the second feature of Checkbook that you guys would have access to is a story. So stories are basically a free web page builder. It's something that you guys could do completely for free. You can take advantage of it, or you don't have to use it. If you join Checkbook, it's not something that's required, but it's just there if you would like to use it. But in this case, Nitro has used their story as a way to show their monthly report. This is an older one, so they have an updated one now, but it basically goes down through here, and they did expenses by department, so you can see the data here, and you can even hover over each individual department to see the amount of expenses that they've had for the individual department, and then you can see it in just a regular plain format over here. And then they've also broken it down by month. So other counties that I've seen, Fayette County actually had a good story where they had a 1% citywide tax, and they used their story to show what the 1% tax was spent on within their city. So they bought new Christmas lights for their main street, and once they hung them up, they put a picture on their story for everybody within the site to view. And then the last part of Checkbook is called a dashboard. It's something that is basically a culmination of all of these reports. So you can do a dashboard of yearly reports, monthly reports, weekly reports, or even run it to a day-by-day basis. So the data is as current as you guys want it to be, or as current as you would upload the data. So going back to the PowerPoint, the way that you can get involved into Checkbook is basically by, if you give me the okay, we can decide that whenever you guys decide. And once you give the okay to the auditor's office, then we get in touch with it's OpenGov, and they're basically the back end of West Virginia Checkbook. That's who we run West Virginia Checkbook through. So then they have people on their end that perform a data integration. So they go in and they work with you guys to pull your data out and upload it on the site, and you guys can give them specifics on how you want it formatted. You can give them specifics on the stories that you would like to tell within the story builder, if that's something you would choose to do, or you can also give them specifics on the kind of dashboards that you want. And that's something that you guys would have 24/7 access to within Checkbook, free of cost. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Yes, I do. Who uses this the most? The citizens or the municipalities, or who actually goes in? I'm sure you probably have reporting on that.
Yeah, so a lot of citizens use it. They go in and get curious on what their county or municipality is spending money on, so they'll filter it that way. And then there's also a lot of the counties and municipalities use it for themselves, because with the way that reporting is set up, you can make that to show budgeted versus actual revenues or expenses. So it can also double as a budgeting tool and can be something that can be utilized by you guys as well.
Jacob, thanks for coming and showing us. This is near and dear to my heart, because as we were doing budgeting and you look at numbers, I was chipping in data from years back into an Excel spreadsheet, and you can do graphs and everything with this. And I'm familiar with the dashboards because everything's pretty much Excel driven. It drives up and you can format it. And then at the first meeting that we had, I brought up a comment about every department ought to have their own dashboard. How are you doing? So that way they know where they're came, where they're at, and where they're heading. So this is a good tool. I'm very familiar with it because we use it at work.
I have a question about the amount of time that it takes to set this up with our financial director and get it all up and running, and then after.
Can you speak closer into your microphone, please? I know. You almost have to be touching that thing.
Sorry. What I was wondering was the length of time that it takes for our financial director and you all to set that up. And then after it's set up, the amount of time that it requires, if anything, on a weekly, monthly basis, or is that data just automatically uploaded at certain points in time?
Yeah, so as soon as a county or municipality gives us the go-ahead to get in touch with OpenGov, it takes about 2 weeks for the whole integration process to go through and for all the data to be live on the site. So it would be about 2 weeks for that, and then the data itself that you guys would submit would be as current as you want it to be. They've done daily data integrations for counties and municipalities, or they set it up on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. It's whatever is most convenient for you guys. They have the capability to work with many different softwares, so it can be as often or as little as you would like.
Great. So the financial director that we have, how much time of hers would it take when you all come up to get this set up?
Not much at all. When we get in touch with OpenGov and work together for the integration, it's a completely remote process. So OpenGov has the technology to pull the data from whatever software you guys have and get it up on the site remotely. So they do all the heavy lifting. We do the outreach and work together with the integration and the formatting, and then we take whatever you guys would like, whatever suggestions you have for how you want your data to be presented, and then OpenGov goes in and does all the heavy lifting data-wise, so it takes the weight off of your shoulders.
Mr. Sasson, before you, did you have a question you were gonna ask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Morrison, by the way.
Well, I was right here.
All right. I think this kind of goes along with what Councilwoman Rhodes was asking. Once everything's set up, is there going to be an additional tax on, not tax, bad word, is there going to be an additional requirement for the city workers to input data, or is this OpenGov, are they going to receive the data that we're already doing and just input everything?
Yeah, so we go in and OpenGov, they pull the data out themselves. So it's not anything that you guys have to work on continuously. It's a pretty just hands-free type of thing. So that's the whole integration process is mainly lifted heavily on our end and OpenGov's end.
Thanks.
Mr. Sasson.
This whole tool is neat because it should free up Andy's time to be able to look at in a proactive way of what's coming, where are we at, and stuff like that. So, I mean, the initial setup takes a little bit of time. But after that, the benefit that you get out of this, has he spent time on the beginning?
No, this is just his initial.
Okay. It's priceless. Thank you.
I'd just like to say I'm really interested in this. And I know, we're all just newly elected, except for Jim. And so when I was out campaigning, a lot of what I heard was this perception that people have that the city has a lack of transparency and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a perception, and there's no way to really address this. This is the only way that I see that fully addresses that and gives that comfort level to the citizens of the city that they have some knowledge of what we're doing. So it's a great program, thank you.
Yeah, and I will say that the state of West Virginia itself, if you go onto Checkbook, you can filter through any of the state's vendor payments or any expenses or revenues over the whole state. You can even look at total compensation to see how much money people are making and things of that nature. So the state of West Virginia doesn't ask anything of the counties and municipalities that we wouldn't do of ourselves, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
I took time and I looked through the website and the various dashboards at length. And I believe that when implemented, if this council chooses to do such, I believe it will be a very useful tool. It'll make it very simple for individuals to go on. They'll have to learn the system, on a resident side, but learn the system. Then they can see what particular information that they want, without having to scroll through all of our documents and kind of build what they're doing. I want to thank Ms. Rhodes for organizing this and putting this together. We've talked at length over the past couple of months about doing that, and I do believe it will be a very beneficial tool so that individuals can have that information at their fingertips if they have any questions. I did look, Parkersburg utilizes this, and I looked at the other municipalities that were there, and all of the information that's there would be beneficial if somebody were trying to look at it if they took the time. Mm-hmm. Mr. Leach, did you have something?
Just, is there any ability to be interactive with this, or just kind of a read-only interface?
Are you talking from like a citizen's perspective?
Right. In other words, because I'm just wondering, I think you said number of counties and municipalities that have, and I remember this being discussed several years ago, as something that's coming forward. But I think it's just a read-only type, because I just like what Ms. Rhodes said, how much time would it add for city employees to maintain input, and it sounds like it's pretty seamless in that respect. I just wondered if so it's basically just a informational tool that the city's not going to have to start responding to comments. I'm saying it'd be a bad thing. I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, that honestly is one of the best feedbacks that we've gotten from a lot of counties and municipalities is it's cut down on a lot of answering of calls and emails from the counties and municipalities because people are just able to go onto the site and filter through the data themselves and kind of answer their own question. based on what's on the website.
But there's not an ability for a citizen to interact
No,
with the website. It's just right.
Right.
If they had a question, of course, they could call in. But
Right, they would not be able to change any of the data that's on the site. They would just be able to go in and see what is input from
that's
you
what I
guys.
thought.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to. Oh,
I was just gonna say,
I'm sorry. What was your name again?
It's Mr. Morrison.
Mr. Morrison.
Or Councilman Morrison.
Councilman Morrison.
Is that anything better than
Can you spelling? Can you spell that? I can't. Thank you.
But I was just gonna say, as a general comment on this discussion point, that I would like to see this if I would be willing to sponsor this on our next agenda to get this implemented and see this take place. I think it's a great program, and definitely appreciative to the state for bringing this down and presenting. So,
anyone else? All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to give you the heads up, the intention and the discussion between Ms. Rhodes and I was to have this presentation, then it would be followed up on the next, am I correct? That it would be followed up on our next council. Then the implementation time that myself and Ms. Rhodes and Ms. Roberts have talked about is, it's when the new budget would start, right? Right, and there are some questions about our software, because our software was designed kind of specifically for us to make sure all of those pieces went together. But the goal would be that when we start our new budget year, that this would be up and running. Correct? Am I correct with that? Yeah. That's it.
When you talk about the software for us, is it capable of downloading into Excel?
Yes.
Then if it's downloadable in Excel.
To my knowledge, she
If
does
it is,
that.
if it is, then it can upload into anything. As long as you get rows and columns, that's all you need.
Yeah. The only thing that when, like I said, my discussion and our discussion with the finance director was that our software wasn't a shelf, it wasn't pulled off the shelf. It was designed for the city. So we're hoping that everything goes smoothly and it works just fine.
Because if it can download in Excel, you can go way back as far as you want.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to our next item of discussion, and that is the Senior Center discussion and future programs. This is an item that I wanted to bring and put onto council so that we could kind of update, and I say we, Ms. Rhodes and I have worked over the past couple of months, or really since we took office, at trying to address issues and various things that have been that arise from the Senior Center. And I wanted to bring that to the council so that everyone can know what we have found, what we have met and tried to discuss, than what we've currently got implemented and what's going on. So several months or a couple of months ago, we met and we started to discuss various things that we got from the seniors that attended the Senior Center. There were various complaints and discussions that had come up about individuals that were under the age threshold that were attending Senior Center activities. This has a couple of issues with it in general, but we started to look at that. So one of the first things that I did was call a meeting, and myself and Ms. Rhodes, the Senior Center staff, and HR were present as we discussed what exactly the current environment was within the Senior Center, what the concerns that we had been brought to our attention, especially in the age category in dealing with. And I asked the question, is this an issue? How many people do we have? And you can correct me at any time it's been a couple of seconds ago since we had these conversations. But I asked the question, is this an issue? Do we have this mass group of individuals that are underage attending senior events?
Yes.
I was told, no, this is not a major issue. it's not going on, or we may have one or two, but it's not a major issue. So we discussed, how to deal with those things, and we discussed what the current age requirement was, and that is set at 55. One of the things that we wanted to do was to track and to be able to verify who was actually attending the senior center, both on the service side where the kitchen and the seating area and where they do the games, and also the activity side where they do the exercises and have the Zumba classes and all of those various things. So we asked that be tracked. We had some conversation about, do you adjust the age? Do you leave it as it is? Where do we go to from there? So we had the conversation on leaving the age category at 55 itself. I had first set a timeline of doing an evaluation period of 2 months, but after Ms. Rhodes and I talked again, we decided that we needed more data than just what 2 months would provide us. So we extended it out to at least 6 months, potentially looking at a year's worth of data on who was actually attending if in the requirements that were currently set. And let me be clear, I have not established any new rules. These are not new rules for the senior center. The senior center age has been 55. That was established before I took office, and that's just simply what we've asked the senior center staff to follow in attendance. So we started to get that data, and Liz provided us some data that she was able to gather already on those that were attending and various things, and she gave that and various percentages and those numbers. And according to the sign-ins, there was a significant population that was under the age 55 category. I think it was Vicki that brought up that those that attend the senior center are about 53% are Vienna residents. The other 46% are outside of Vienna that attends the Vienna Senior Center. That's important to know because the senior center that we operate is fully funded by the city of Vienna. We do not receive outside funds from the county or the state. We budget, as we just did in the last budget, the funds that cover all of the programs that go on at the senior center. Although residency was never a big question or concern, it was just a point of interest as we looked at the information. So we said, and we set a date, because this was earlier on when we first took office, and we set a projected date of April 1st being the day that we were going to ask the senior center staff, Linda and Liz, to post and let everyone know the age is 55. This is, the policy that has always been there, and we're just going to follow it and adhere to that policy. It was not very long after, I don't even think that the sticky tape took hold on the door when it was posted, that I started to receive phone calls, Facebook messages, and various other things about why I, the mayor, were taking away the availability for all ages to attend these Zumba classes and other exercise classes that were going on at the senior center. In those conversations, it was even acknowledged. I understand that it's a senior center, and I understand that the age is 55, but I don't understand why I can't come. Pretty much self-explanatory. So I explained in these multiple conversations that the funding that this council provides is for senior health and wellness programs. It is not here to offset for free services to all of the population in Vienna. It's budgeted for that reason. Am I opposed to looking at programs for different age categories in a different setting under a different venue with different programs? 100%. If this council were to decide to look at that and to say, how can we support other programs within our community to meet different age categories, I have no opposition to that. But one of the three things that I said when I was going to take office, and I've continued to say, there were three goals that I had set: information management, customer service, and accountability. This has to do with accountability. We have programmed money for the senior center for senior health and wellness events. If we are providing that funding in other entities or other age groups are using that, then funding is being provided for something other than what it was originally intended for. Case in point, if I give you $100 to go buy chairs, and you go out and buy $25 worth of chairs, and you buy, $75 worth of tables, although you have not went over your budget, you have not spent the money that it was originally approved for to be able to do. That's how I see the funding that we provide to the senior center as a whole. So through those conversations and various things, and I believe that there's been a lack of communication with those that are attending the senior center from the information that we put out, or that I put out from my office, and what gets back to the seniors. Because if so, had you gotten accurate information, you would have known that tonight's meeting was not based upon changing the age requirement for the senior center itself, but to discuss how we can program to attract, or what we can recommend to program to attract more Vienna residents to be able to use this facility. I believe it is a great resource that we have. And so many people in our community do enjoy it and do utilize it. Do we need to make improvements in areas? Absolutely. Do we need to offer variations in programs? Absolutely. But we need to do that very openly. We need to do that very, intently when we're looking at what's going on, because this is a resource for our community. We are addressing the issues with storage and taking steps to get that done. I have repeatedly said I need time to be able to do that. Rome was not built in a day, and we can't resolve all of these problems overnight. Liz and I just talked the other day about the establishment of a computer lab back into the facility, and we've already taken steps to be able to do that and to be able to meet those needs. So we're working diligently to be able to do that. What I would stress, and I say this time and time again, some people utilize it and some people don't. My office door is open. If you have something you want to discuss with me, you are more than welcome to come and discuss anything with me. Any concerns, any questions, any topics that you have. You can voice your opinions in support or in opposition of something. That's the point of having an open door policy, so we can have those conversations. So tonight, as I open this up for discussion, that is why I know that was kind of lengthy to get there, but that's why I asked for this to be added to the agenda this evening. So at that, you've heard my point, and if any council member has any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer them, but I'll open the floor at this time for conversation amongst our council members. Mr. Dixon.
Thank you for your explanation. That is well stated, and I agree with everything you said.
Thank you very much.
I'd just like to say some things, and I'm going to, excuse me, kind of go back over a couple of things that have already been said. But first, I want to thank everyone from the Senior Center for being here. It shows the passion that you have for that center, the passion for the activities and the exercises. And I really appreciate it, and especially to those of you who spoke. It was wonderful. So thank you. Just a little bit of background. I think everyone knows I was a former Johns Manville labor hall. And Kim had talked about that being open to the seniors in 2006. And what I want to say was kind of a backup to what she was saying about the Senior Citizens Association, which at that time was not a 401 or 501c3. And it functioned at that time. They had already been meeting, like was said, off-site at the churches. When the city bought that building and remodeled it, they gave that in 2006 to the senior center, for a senior center. And the Senior Citizens Association were volunteers, and they actually ran that senior center has volunteers for no money at all, spending every day, all day.
That's right.
They are taking care of it. And that didn't change until 2014, when Ms. Kern was placed in the senior center. And so I just wanted to say how important that association has been and how much they want to continue being a benefit to Vienna. And as a 501c3 in the future, hopefully there'll be some grant money and some things that they can get involved in. I just wanted to reiterate that the center was always for 55 and older. And I sent you all an email right before the council meeting started with all these notes in it and the pictures that I'm going to go up and show here in a minute. There have been a ton of grants that have been provided to the senior center for different things. And some of these, the ADA compliant elevator, the remodel of the kitchen with new equipment, remodel of the second floor into a senior activity, exercise, and computer center. The construction of the new gym was done by the McDonough Foundation, the Sisters Health Foundation, and the Parkersburg Community Health Foundation. I think I missed a word there. And then other things that have been provided over the years by grants include the HVAC system, remodeling the bathrooms to be ADA compliant, the parking lot, and gym chairs and equipment, and that's just a partial list of things that have been received by grant money. So the senior center has been very fortunate that they've gotten a lot of support from community foundations. One of the pictures that I sent was out of a newspaper clipping, and this is actually, it was posted on the wall of the senior center. And in this, it states, that, we have people here from 55 to, and different ages in the 90s, and I can't read it. So that's my picture, and I'm trying to enlarge it. It's not working, so you all can probably read it better than
Good
I can.
attempt, good attempt.
Anyway, and I also wanted to say, you know, a lot of when those grants were written and they were applied for, there was nothing ever said in there that it was specific for Vienna. As a matter of fact, some of them did say that, you know, it was for like Jackson County and Worth County and so forth. That doesn't obligate us to do anything one way or another. But I think the goal is to get as many Vienna citizens as we can in that senior center. We have a population of almost 25% that are seniors in our community.
Admittedly, I am not a senior citizen yet.
God bless. And so, you know, I just want to say that oh, I know what I'm saying. With the aging of the population, you know, middle age is, the range of that is getting older, you know, so.
There's hope for me yet. I'll
There
still
is
be
very
able
much
to live.
hope for you, yeah. And then I wanted to say, when the senior center, and I wasn't around at the senior center, don't fall asleep, Mary. You were relaxing too well. I wasn't around in 2006 for all this, but I have friends that have been, and they've given me bunches of information. And the exercise classes that went on back then, before 2017, when the gym was built, it was all seniors, and they had it in that main area, you know, where we had that meeting downstairs where the tables were. That's where all the exercise classes were. eventually, after McDonough provided the funds to remodel the upstairs, the exercise classes moved up there. And they became so popular that then there wasn't room for everyone. And that's when they decided to build a gym. I've got some pictures. I'll go up there in a minute and show you these. So the gym was completed in early 2017. And there was an article, or there was a Facebook post that a group of exercise people did in February 2017 that said, and this is a Zumba group, and they stated in that post that they were going to start meeting at the Vienna Senior Center. They called it the Vienna Gym, but it was a senior center. And that the exercise classes that they would be teaching would be free, and they were open for everyone 18 years old and over. Oh my gosh. And that post, and I didn't put a picture of it in here, but it's still on Facebook, and so that's what happened. Since that time, there have become more and more Zumba classes. According to people that I know, they started out maybe 2 a week. Now the schedule is up to about 60 Zumba classes a month. 60. That's more than this whole area combined at all the activity centers and senior centers and exercise places. Totally more. So now, are all those classes inappropriate? No. There's some lighter intensity, slower Zumba classes that are appropriate for seniors, but there's a lot of these that seniors can't keep up with. Also, I wanted to say what was kind of on my mind about maybe some directions to go, and I don't know what you feel about this or anything, and I'll just throw some things out here. So before we try to attract new seniors to the senior center, I think we need to we have talked about this, get it in line and really try to start getting it fixed and offer the types of classes that are more appropriate for seniors instead of all Zumba classes. The other issue that we have, some of the classes, say like the Silver Sneakers Cardio Fit or the TNT, the Tone and Trim, there may be one class a week for that. And we know that one class a week doesn't do any benefit to anyone as far as building muscle or strength or cardiac reserve. It's just not enough to really do any benefit. So we need to look at rescheduling that too, as well as changing the types of classes that we have. Basically, I think that the senior center lost its focus on seniors. They just stopped making the senior center for seniors and doing things that were exactly for them. Amen. I think we need to look at adding maybe more Silver Sneakers classes. We already have plans to offer Tai Chi. Line dancing used to be a big deal there at one point, so I think that would be something looking into. And we don't have any beginners classes, so like the last couple of weeks, I started trying some of those classes. You walk into a class and they're all just where they are, so there's not a time or a date where there is a beginner class for something where you can start as a true beginner and learn how to do that. And then I think, looking at some things like group fitness certifications, and there's another program that's called Golden Hearts, and it's a senior fitness training certification where you learn the physiological changes and the things that need to be adapted in order to fit seniors in their physiological state at that point. So anyway, that's all I've got.
Mr. Sasser.
Just one comment to what she's talking about for us with seniors. If you recall from the population from the 2020 census, 1/3 of the population for the city of Vienna, 55 and up.
And we were talking about things for other people, and Rudy Flanagan owns the In-Step exercise facility at Briscoe Road there where the old OVU was. And I did reach out to him to see, and they do rent their gym out, and I did pass on that information to Luvia, who is the main Zumba instructor there, for her and some of the other Zumba instructors to check into to see if that would be something that was financially feasible for them to have the younger people that were going to class have a place to go exercise. And then, you know, the plans for the rec building and the gym floor, I think that, you know, you talked about that, Mayor. I think that's a wonderful place to look at having some exercise classes for different age groups too.
So, you know, there's been some conversation about how the senior center is currently run. Since it was built and the city took over the management of that, Mayor Rapp before me sat as the department head and signed off and see. Well, I thought you were trying to.
I'm running out of ink.
Oh, trying to run out of ink. You're writing too much. Mayor Rapp before me was the department head, and that's the way it has been set up. Linda Kern is the events director for the senior center activities and the community family activities that we have. And Liz currently, or when she first started, was part-time and was listed as a clerk. About a year ago, she got moved to full-time, but her job description was not updated, nor was her job title. Working with Liz and HR, we are in the process of updating her job description and what she does, and also revamping her title, knowing that she does more than just clerical work. When I took office, I assumed the responsibilities of my predecessor on the oversight of spending and program management of the senior center itself, and that's what we have been attempting to do, and to be able to do that. Ms. Rhodes has been working very diligently with the senior center staff to try to do that. The challenge that I go back to, the challenge that we seem to have is that the information that I put out from my desk is different than the information that gets disseminated within our senior center. And I want to stress again, if you have questions or there's information that's put out to you that you have concerns about, contact me. Ask me directly and I will answer those questions. What I would ask of you is that you would work with me and work with Ms. Rhodes and our staff to be able to collectively put together the programming and support and services that our senior community deserves. The only way we're going to be successful is if we work together. You to me and me to you and to our staff. Because I want to see the senior center grow and I want to see our programs grow. And I want to see us evaluate what we're currently offering to make sure we're offering programs that are going to attract our senior citizens and our community. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
Briefly. So first of all, we had a conversation about the senior center. Always Bruce Rogers deserves a shout out. In the years he was on council, he was always a big advocate. So I just wanted to mention Bruce. The other thing is, you know, we made a public policy decision because based on your explanation, the senior center is funded and subsidized by grants and operating budget exclusively by the city, so we're not bound by state or federal regulation in that respect.
That's correct.
So we've made a public policy decision that this facility should be reserved to those 55 and older, which constitutes a large part of our population, for their exclusive use and benefit. But when we hear all of these younger folks, and I don't know what the demographic is, how many of these people participating in these classes are Vienna residents or not, the Zumba classes and so on, but just following up on what Tammy said, you know, we also talked about we have a whole community to serve, not just one demographic. And so if we're going to exclude them from that facility, which is fine, we should also contemporaneously, I would say, immediately give attention to what else can be done for that segment of our community so they're not just being excluded or felt like they've done something wrong, because obviously it's just been one of those slippery slopes, it sounds like, that just kind of creeped in that this is what's happened. And so there, I would encourage you to, as I say, if we have some other place, community facility, you know, because it used to be at the Serenity Center, and I noticed in the in some of what I read, you know, they used to do those classes on the top floor at that building, and that's not available anymore. So I would just encourage that as we kind of tighten the ship here with respect to the senior center, we don't forget about these other people who are looking for services in the city.
I absolutely agree. And we have been working, I've been working with Steve Black, I've been working with, what was your name again? Mr. Morrison. on addressing the recreation building that we have on the other side of Jackson Hill, to be able to look at doing updates to that and making that building more available to our community when it's not being utilized by Vienna Rec, so that different age demographics can have access and can have use of those facilities to be able to do various things. Mr. Leach, I could not agree with you more on that statement, and look forward to bringing a plan back to council for consideration and approval to be able to address those things and move forward.
I hope there's a way so it's not disruptive, because just like you read in this history, when things go away that have been established and they have nowhere else to go, it kind of all falls apart. And again, I don't know, but it just sounds like we have a thriving community of these exercisers, whomever they are. If they are all of a sudden nowhere to go, I would say we need something immediately available to them if they are immediately precluded from going to the senior center for these classes. And we try not to interrupt, the availability of these services to our community.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Skulks now.
Well, no, I just want, when you're coming up with these plans, just remember that private entities can't use public property for private gain. So you always have to be careful about allowing individuals who are using these facilities to do things like charge people, or at least charge them such that they're making money off of it. And gain isn't always just pecuniary. It isn't just money. There's also the issue of, are they benefiting in some way by advertisement or what have you? But I think that's a lesser issue. But just remember, when you're coming up with the programs, we're not supposed to use our state property, city property for the benefit of private individuals. And to go back to Ms. Rhodes' issue with this age, she is correct. The predominant, well, statutorily, I can't think of anything in the state code that refers to senior citizens other than individuals 65 and older. 55 and older, I think, is something that the city has adopted, and multiple places have adopted. But I will point out, having just turned 50, that I'm now getting lots of AARP solicitations.
Wait till you get funeral home plannings in Grapevine.
So I don't think it's untenable or unreasonable. I think realistically what you need to look at as far as the ages go, creating your definition of what the age of your seniors are is, what is your target demographic, what do your facilities provide? And one of the issues you need to look at with the exercise classes is, if the intent of the senior center is to serve senior citizens, and then the programming needs to be geared toward them. If they're not, if the programming is no longer geared toward them, there are plenty of private businesses that can do the same thing, but I digress.
As we could probably sit and talk about this all evening. We could very well, there's no snacks. So are there any closing comments? I appreciate the discussion. I appreciate everybody, having, and that was the intent. I did not want to simply sit and make decisions without keeping you, the city council, informed, because you are the ones that fund and provide this resource to our community. And you need to be fully aware of how we are utilizing your funds, and that we are doing it accountable and in a manner that is correct.
Yeah, I would just like to add on what you were saying, Councilwoman Rhodes, that I appreciate your passion of those who went up to spoke and those who attend here. That gets our attention. So it sounds like we're sharing that passion with you. I think if you just give us a little bit of patience, I think we can have a resolution that everyone will be happy. So thank you.
Did you have a closing comment you wanted to make?
Yeah, just a brief one, Mr. Leach. Prior to coming to the Vienna Senior Center, in addition to Serenity, the Zumba instructors also used the YMCA and for their classes too. So I did talk to Luvia, and like I said, she took the information, she was going to share it with one of the other Zumba instructors. And so I don't know what they're going to do at this point, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. And that's a question I'd like to ask the attorney. So if we had the rec building after the gym floor is done, or we have the community building, can a group of, or a Zumba instructor rent that out from the city and then charge her participants for coming in to exercise. 'Cause that's the way they were doing it at,
Brick House.
was it at Brick House? And then at Serenity, as well as, I think, probably at the Y.
I don't know what Brick House is.
It was,
Serenity was a privately owned business.
Brick House
And
was too.
Brick House and the Y is, if I recall, is a nonprofit. None of those are government entities. The only concern I would have is using an individual or an LLC or however they structure it, using city buildings and property to essentially run a business.
We had that come up with like a yard sale or something a few years ago.
Well, I think a one-time event, maybe, I don't remember, and I don't want to speak too
I
much
just
out of
mentioned
turn.
because I think you did some research on that
Yeah.
at the time.
And I don't know that a one-time thing would be that much of an issue. I think you're essentially becoming a business, and you're subsidizing private businesses with public property, and that would be my concern. But that's just off the top of my head.
Thank you.
So in closing, I would say that on this topic, this council is very committed to our senior citizens within our community, 100%. You have our support. And for many reasons, but one reason we're all going to end up there at some point, right? And we want to safeguard that in the future. But we want to see those things happen. So again, if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have things that you want to discuss, if there's things, Tammy is the liaison to the senior center. She's probably been in my office more than any council member over the past few months discussing this and many other topics. You're free to discuss with her, and she can bring those to me, or her and I and you, or any other concerned citizen, can very easily meet together and discuss. A lot of things get lost in translation through Facebook posts, through emails, through text messages, through backdoor conversations. The best way to get accurate information is to come to the source. I am always available if you want to talk, and we're just committed to you in making these things work. So with that, I'm going to close our discussion on the Senior Center. And again, thank you for those that have come to represent the Senior Center and all of the council members for all of their comments. Having closed that out, we're going to move on to our next item of business. Is item number 3, which is an internal budget revision for the Parks Department. Mr. Sasson, do you want to speak to this?
Yep, on that one, Steve Black is looking to replace the metal building in the ball fields with another one in kind. So they're looking to move money from account 540-15, which is maintenance buildings and grounds, into 54041, which is materials and supplies, so they can make the purchase.
Do I have a motion to accept the budget revision?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Having had a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Having no other discussion, all those in favor of the internal budget revision, number 4, signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 4 is the bid approval for the flower planting and maintenance. This is the, Mr. Scott said, do you need to address this? Or just the flower planting and so this is the bid that came forward for the flower plantings and the watering. What you see here is a revised version from what we have done in the past. In the past, it was kind of an open-ended on the maintenance. There have been additional plantings in areas of attention that are given in this contract. We have limited the amount of money on the watering, so it's not just an open-ended checkbook to water as many times as you want. That's in there. It is, we have looked through it, we have obviously agreed upon it, and it stands as submitted. Do I have a motion on the floor to approve the bid approval for the flower planting and maintenance?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Having a motion and a second, open for any discussion. Mr. Sasson.
Yeah, during the budget and finance meeting, we looked at different options on it. One was,
It's coming unplugged, I apologize. I think I fixed it.
Are you good?
Okay.
I'm fine.
Very good. Okay. I was just checking.
One of the comments that we brought up was, could somebody like the kids from WVUP do something like this? But then you had to worry about it, they planted and everything was good and it died, whose fault is it, if it wasn't watered and so on. We also said, well, can WVU over in Morgantown or horticulture kids do the same thing? And they came out to the watering thing, and then Scott's was the only ones that came in with a bid, so that's what we got, what we're presenting today.
Any other discussion? No. Where's it at?
Should be prior to the memo. The dollar.
Yeah.
The dollar amount total,
Yeah.
for.
Here, I got it right here. No, go ahead.
For landscaping, flower planting was $29,557. For watering was $28,810. Total bid of $58,367. And there's multiple locations throughout the city for putting the plants.
Sorry, I turned my page too soon. Mr. Morrison?
Just as I was going through the bid proposal, something stuck out. I mean, and I'm not trying to knock Scott's. They were obviously the only ones that bid on the project, and really were probably the only ones in the area to qualify with all of the different licenses and insurances that the city was requiring. One thing that was really I think I would like to see us look at maybe in the future. Would be maybe splitting this up to have multiple bid offerings for these things, just as a way to get people that might not have your pest control licensing or these other different licensings that were mentioned. I'm sure it's important for flower planting, but whenever I look at the watering, especially with the 28,800, I mean. I know that there's a lot of work involved with that, and I understand. I'm not trying to diminish that, but I think we're also, as a city, as a municipality, I think we could probably find another business that might not have all of those qualifications that would be capable of watering, and I hope maybe even at a lesser amount.
So I brought that up when this first was addressed, and I actually had it split out between waterings and the flowers. As always, when you make a decision, you ask for counsel from other individuals. And myself, Mr. Smith, and Jack got together to talk about that and to talk about some concerns. The concern was this, and Mr. Sasson brought this up, was that if you had one company that planted the flowers and another company that did the watering, and the flowers died, who's responsible? Company A, who planted the flowers, said all of our flowers were great when we planted them. They died because Company B didn't water them. Company B, over here that's doing the watering, says, look, all of your flowers were crud when you planted them. We tried to water them and take care of them, and they all died because you gave us a subpar item. So the only way to really fix that, and I reversed my course of direction, after listening to the arguments, which made complete sense, was that if you have one entity that's responsible for the planting and the watering, and the flowers die, there's only one entity that is responsible for the dead flowers. And that's why it was then put back together, because I didn't have it separated. But that argument was brought to me. I believe that it was very sound, and I took a step back and I reversed my decision. Mr. Sasson?
Yeah, there's also Greenleaf and Thompson's, but they didn't bid. And if I'm not mistaken, Whitney's also has stuff over in Ohio, so
They just
a
did.
lot of local companies that were available didn't bid.
And I just want to say, when I read this bid proposal and saw, there's a lot of paintings around, right?
Yeah.
But when I read
There's a
this,
lot.
I was like, oh my, I had no idea there was that much involved. And I can understand where that expense comes from.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of areas.
You'll notice them when you're not there.
Yes.
With no other discussion, having a motion and a second, all those in favor for accepting the bid proposal as submitted, signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 5, this is the first reading of the ordinance to approve the 2024 replacement pages to the codified ordinances. Mr. Skogstad, how would you like to address this?
If you want, I can read through it quickly, and I'll abbreviate it a little bit. Just so council's clear, this is West Virginia State, the legislature passes updates to the General Criminal Traffic Administrative Code. Periodically, we go through and adopt those en masse, so we don't have to, and do them all at once at the end, so that we don't have to do it again. That's what this is. So this is an ordinance to approve the 2024 replacement pages to the codified ordinances, whereas certain provisions within the codified ordinances should be amended to conform with current state law, and whereas various ordinances of a general and permanent nature have been passed by council, which should be included in the codified ordinances, and whereas council has heretofore entered into a contract with Walter H. Trading Company to prepare and publish such revision, which is before council. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that Section 1 of the ordinances of the City of Vienna, West Virginia, of a general and permanent nature, as revised, recodified, rearranged, and consolidated into component codes, chapters, articles, and sections within the 2024 replacement pages to the codified ordinances are hereby approved and adopted. Section 2, the following sections and articles are hereby added, amended, or repealed as respectively indicated in order to comply with current state law, and I'll just refer to these by numbers. If you want to review them, they're part of the packet. The Administrative Code 101.02, General Definitions, Traffic Code 301.02 and 301.083, 345.18, 349.22, 373.12, General Offenses Code 501.08, 521.01, 521.09, 525.05, 525.06, 533.01, 545.01, and Section 3 pursuant to West Virginia Code 811.4b. A notice of proposed adoption of the current replacement pages to the City Code shall be given by publication as provided in West Virginia Code 811.482. And B, through authentication of this ordinance, the mayor shall certify the current replacement pages to the City Code, which shall be filed as a permanent record in the office of the City Clerk. The ordinances shall take effect immediately upon passage. I received a copy of the proposal from Walter Drain and reviewed them. They look to comply with state code. So once we have assurances that the proper public notices have been published, we'll bring this back to the agenda for second reading.
Do I have a motion to accept and approve the ordinance updates for the codified ordinances? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Mr. Sasson.
I brought this up in a prior meeting. I mean, we're gonna have to go through and have ordinances. Are we going to enforce them? I mean, I know they're being revised, or if we don't enforce them, are we gonna have? I mean, there's things that we have that are out there that ain't happening. That's my question. It's just chicken or the egg.
To address that very quickly, our code enforcement officer is on the road every day, trying to hold people accountable. It's difficult, and we make decisions every day on, how hard do we slam down on residents for various things. And we try to work with the residents, giving them time. Sometimes those response times are not as quickly as what, maybe neighbors want them to be. But they are being done. Our law enforcement is doing a great job of stepping up control of traffic and speeding and various things within our community. And again, our code enforcement officer is out every day talking with residents, trying to address these issues. If there are specific concerns when somebody believes that there's a code that's not being enforced, again, that goes back to communication. I encourage, which I've received calls and people come in and do that. I would always encourage somebody to come with the question, with the comment, or with the concern, and we will address it, how we can and get it enforced.
And just so you all understand, or in case I did fail to make myself clear, the adoptions, for example, 30102 is simply the city of Vienna adopting the state statute definition of what an authorized emergency vehicle is: fire department, vehicle of the fire department, rescue squad, police department, ambulance service, and so forth. All we're trying to do is to keep our ordinances consistent with state code. This allows our police officers, for example, for the traffic, when they go out, they can write an offense that is either a violation of state code, which would go through through magistrate court, so those are typically misdemeanors, or they can write the same citation through state code. The public knows that the laws are the same in the city of Vienna that are being enforced through through city court as are in the state of West Virginia, that would be enforced through, I think I said that backwards. The laws for West Virginia through magistrate court can be enforced there. The same laws are going to be enforced in the city of Vienna through municipal court. And that's essentially what the majority of this is.
As a former prosecutor, I can say that that'll save the city money, because if we charge them on the state dime, it goes down to magistrate court as pointed out, and then we don't have to spend. So this is a money saving thing too.
And we like that.
Yes.
If there's no other discussion, I have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor of accepting and approving the codified ordinance update signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the last item of our agenda. This is a resolution to approve the name change for the WVUP property on the road that goes through that. They're wanting to rename it from Campus View Drive to Innovation Drive. It doesn't really affect anything except them being able to utilize that as their official address and to be able to have the 911 area updated. Mr. Scoggs, do you want to read the resolution?
Yeah, sorry. This is a resolution renaming Campus View Drive to Innovation Drive. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna at the request of West Virginia University Partnersburg. Campus View Drive is renamed Innovation Drive. The mayor and/or his designee is authorized to make all necessary street sign changes and contact the relevant emergency service providers of the name change.
Do I have a motion to accept the resolution? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second and a third and a fourth. Do we have any other discussion?
I love this name change.
That'll be cool. Having no other discussion, are you going to say something?
I was just going to say, I personally would rather see it called Morrison Drive.
All the comedians out of work. You want it Mr. Morrison Drive or just Morrison Drive? Having no other discussion, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. I'm sure that Dr. Jackson will be very ecstatic to hear that we have gotten that taken care of.
And I just need to make sure that Wood County Emergency Services are getting the name changed so that the dispatch guys out, they know where they're going. You probably should send a memo to the
So that the old googly map works, right?
That's right.
That's it. That ends the agenda that we have this evening. Now we go into closing comments from council. The floor is open. Mr. Sasson.
Did you get any feedback from the county commission about the call we're coming up, talking about the punch list to make sure everything is done from the action items from the warehouse fire?
I have not. And I continue to follow up with them, and all I can say is that I will keep trying and see what we can do. I'm going to say that probably the quickest way to get resolution on that is to schedule to attend one of their county commission meetings and to speak. They now have a public forum that you can speak up to 3 minutes, I believe, and you can ask those questions directly to them, and we'll probably hopefully get you a little more resolution and info on that. Any other council comments? Mr. Morrison.
Just wanted to say, appreciate the seniors coming out and speaking about the senior center. I think we had a really healthy discussion. A lot of stuff got covered. One thing I wanted to mention, and kind of in line with the way VRIA and the city of Vienna and their relationship goes, you have VRIA, who is a 501c3, and they're able to raise some funds and do some things. They've actually gotten to the point where they no longer needed to subsidize, subsidies from the city of Vienna. And I don't know that we ever get to that point. I'm not trying to say that we even work towards that point, but I just really wanted to encourage. I know we talked about, Miss Williams was talking about the old association that was in place, and to see that kind of get reestablished again as a 501c, and give you guys an opportunity to raise some funds and to be able to do some things, maybe grow and expand and kind of get some stuff in place. So I know it seems like it's an objective of yours, and I just really wanted to encourage y'all. That's a great route to go, and I hope to see y'all get there. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other council comments? Having none? Oh, announcements. Saturday, April 26th is the National Drug Take Back Day. So if you have unutilized medication, I'm not going to say the word drugs. We're going to say medications, prescriptions that you would like to turn in. You can do so at the Vienna Volunteer Fire Department from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on April the 26th.
Also at the hospital, you can drop stuff off at Camden. There's a drop box in the wall, so you don't have to just wait for that one time in a year that it's an event. Anybody can take anything at any time.
Absolutely.
And we got a special meeting on next Thursday.
Yes, I have that. Next council meeting date, we have a special meeting Thursday, April 15th at 8, Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. If I could read, because it says Thursday there. Look, I'm just reading the teleprompter. At 8:30 a.m. and that is to lay the levy that we will have done. And I invite anybody that wants to attend that, they can do that. Having no other comments?
After Henry mentioned that, I wanted to mention that there was also what looks like a mailbox that's in the lobby of the police department that is for take back drugs. So that's their
medications.
Medications. That's their obligation.
Meeting stands adjourned.